When it comes to the topic of success, and I'm talking about financial or status related success here because that's the type of success that most people care about, there are usually two types of beliefs. People with the first belief think that outside forces determine their lives and their success. Things like luck, fate, circumstances, timing, outside power. They believe that they cannot control their outcomes because things happen to them and there's nothing really they can do about them. And a couple of years ago, when I was writing and releasing songs, I had a chance to talk to this Korean painter slash sculptor about being successful as an artist. And it was really refreshing to see him, It was really refreshing to see someone like him because he had no desire to make a bigger name for himself. He had no desire to sell his paintings. His only desire seemed to be just fixing his motorcycle and painting on a large canvas in his own studio alone. But to someone like me, he was the most successful version I could aspire to be because he was able to make a living out of doing the things he loved, while on the contrary, I had to work a job while doing the things I liked at the same time. So I asked him, how do you become recognized as an artist? Because at the time, recognition or validation from others was what I wanted. And what he said struck me. He said, God decides. He told me everything was up to God. It wasn't about the quality of your work. It wasn't about how mainstream or on trend it was. It had to be chosen by God. And I'm sure I had more questions than I began with, but I couldn't really put them into words. So our conversation ended there and I never had a chance to speak to him again. Anyways, the belief that outside forces determine your life is called an external locus of control. And I'm pretty sure you can guess what the other type or the other belief is called, right? The belief that you, not outside forces, but only you can control your own outcomes is called internal locus of control. It is the belief that I make everything happen. My choices can change my outcome. Success comes from hard work and skill, while failure comes from poor choices and lack of effort. This is the internal locus of outcome, locus of control. So, for an unrecognized artist, he is unpopular not because God didn't choose him, but because he didn't put in the grind, right? He didn't release enough songs, he didn't post enough content on his social media, or he didn't manifest his future enough. All he needs to do, if he wants to be more recognized, is work harder. And depending on your YouTube algorithm, there's a high chance that you might be exposed to one locus of control. And it's really easy to fall into the trap of a single ideology in a world where multiple solutions exist, right? So you just have to remember that too much dependence on outside forces can leave you helpless, while too much reliance on yourself can poison you with excessive self-blame. So I guess what I learned is whatever choice you make, I just have to remember that I always have the choice to rebalance my locus of control to acquire my desired outcome. So I hope you guys do the same and not get stressed over the outcomes that you cannot control versus the outcomes that you can control. All right, have a good day.